Good. I'm pleased to be joined this morning by Ken James, Director of Inclusion, Grand Rapids Chamber. Tony Sarsam, CEO of Spartan Nash. And Ana Ramirez Saenz, President La Fuente Consulting. You got some people over there. So diversity, equity, and inclusion are on the minds of business people and companies across the region and the country. And I'm excited to be having this conversation with this group today. You know, DEI is not only the right thing to do for our companies, but it's also the right thing to do for our communities. And you know, post George Floyd, I've had a lot of conversation with leaders around this topic, and I really crystallized in my mind around three things. As leaders, you should look at your organizations as far as the workforce. How does the team members, your management, and then your executives, how does that look, right? Do you have diversity flowing through those ranks? Where are you getting your advice from, right? Who are the people that you are talking to, and who's giving you your advice? And then really, who are you spending your money with, right? So when you look at your supply chains, who are you spending your money with? Those are three things I think that each one of us can do and can do right now. We talk about it being hard, but let's break that down. I think those three things are pretty simple. So Ken, let's start with you and kick off really a definition of DEI, because I don't know if there's really one that we all know of.
All right. Well, good morning, Michael, and I'm proud to be a part of this discussion. And when we think about diversity, equity, inclusion, they are more than just buzzwords, and they're not the same. There are three distinct things, but all are equally important. So I define diversity as the differences that make each of us unique. Now, human nature would have us, when we hear diversity, think about the things we can see: gender, race, sometimes age. But diversity is much more than that. Diversity of thought, country of origin, your native, what you speak. It could be Catholic, Protestant, atheist, suburban, urban, inner city, rural. It goes on and on. So all that is a richness in diversity. Equity. So when we think about equity, again, we would tend to think about things being equal. Equity is having the right access and opportunity for everyone. And so I'd like to give you an analogy about equity and it not being equal. So right now we're in a room, and it is a pleasure to be in a room with over 300 people. And if I would say, you know, we all need shoes in this room, using that example. If we're being equal, and I said, I want to give everybody in the room a pair of shoes, if I did that, I wear a size 14, so I give each of you a size pair of 14 shoes. That's being equal. But if we look at it through equitable lens, I would give you the shoe that you needed as well. So that's what we talk about equity. And we talk about inclusion, that's opportunity and access for all. We're all at the table and we're there. And if I can give you one last analogy, because when we think about inclusion, we're at the table, we can contribute. And belonging is a great place to start, but we want to get to that welcoming, it's not, welcoming is fine, but we want to belong. I am there. And so, excuse me for that, turning it around. And so I use this, Michael, if I went to your house and I could assume you would welcome me there. I could sit down if I asked for a drink of water.
Not with those big 14s.
Not with those 14s. I could sit down, you give me a drink of water. But if I feel like I belong there when I get to your house, I can't kick my shoes off, size 14, put my feet up on the couch. Don't have to ask you for a snack. I can go in the refrigerator and fix one. So when we take that analogy and put it into the workplace, into the business community, we want to create a workforce where our employees belong, where they know this is where they're supposed to be.
You know, Ken, when you say that, I always think about it, I call it spirit. I think of it as spirit, and all of our houses have like a spirit. Like what you described, there's some houses, I don't know about you guys, but you sit there, you can't move 2 inches to the right or left. It feels like you're just planted. And then there's other people's houses you go to that you're opening the refrigerator and you go, oh crap, I just opened the refrigerator. Yeah. Excuse me. So I think it is around that spirit side of that as well, that sense of belonging and inclusion. Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Ana, you've been doing your business now for over 20 years. You're in 21 states, dealing with large companies and small companies and C-suite individuals. So help talk to us about that.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias por estar aquí y por la invitación.
Show off.
Es un gran placer. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for the introduction. I would like to introduce myself as Ana Ramirez Saenz Garcia Limon. But since we are friends, you can call me Ana. So the question is, why is this work so important? Number one, people drive results. People drive results. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is the glue that brings that to fruition. So when we think about that, we think about the impact that D&I has across our business. It's not a side deal, but it is integral to what we do. So people drive results. DE&I is the glue. Second, people need to understand each other. We need to communicate with each other. We need to connect with each other so that we can relate, we can be productive, we can be efficient, and most of all, connect on a human level. And thirdly, people are a reflection of your company, internally and externally. They are the ones that drive your behaviors. They are the ones that drive your culture, and they are the ones that exhibit your core values. So it's really critical to understand the impact, the powerful impact that people have in your organizations. And finally, COVID, pre and post, has really shown us how much we need each other, right? Look at us, we're all here, we're so excited to be together. So we need each other. So diversity, equity, and inclusion for us, for you as CEOs in your companies, is really about people connecting with people.
Thank you for that, Anna. Tony, you've done pretty well for yourself. CEO of Spartan-Nash. Share with us how you created a new role at Spartan-Nash to drive DEI, and what is your vision and how are you supporting it?
Great, thank you, Michael. Yeah, I want to take a half step backwards and talk about culture a little bit and just spring from some of Anna's words. So the foundation, I think, of this effort is about what we call a people-first culture. And we're developing and working really hard on developing that right now. And the essence of that is that a belief that if you invest your time and your energy and your emotions in supporting your people, they'll take care of the customer. They'll take care of the rest of your business. And so we are shifting the way we think about that effort at our company. And really, we're branding it as people first and really trying to make that meaningful to all people. And so as you think about the importance of leveraging that talent and leveraging your people-first culture, it is sort of central to that you have to make people feel included. And you have to have a DE&I focus that makes people comfortable, feel respected, feel like they can kick off their size 14 shoes, sit back, or more, and do their best work and feel like they really leverage their skills and do their best. So we thought that was actually going to be really core to this next part of our life cycle, is to have that focus. And so we hired a person to lead that. Shaquanda Gordon is leading that effort, and she's putting together a team. Look out for Shaquanda. She's putting together her team right now to do that and integrate that with our overall people-first culture.
You know what's interesting, when you think about your stores, right? It's almost like this lab, because you have everybody coming through your doors.
We do.
So talk to us about that, right? When you have a customer base that is wide and varied.
A great point. So I talk a little bit, and we've talked here today even a little bit about the heroes of the pandemic and people who stepped up and made our country work during a very uncertain time. And I would offer that there's probably, there are heroes in my organization that are equal to the greatest ones that you would know, because not only do they come to work every single day, but we had the unique element of coming together and working during an uncertain time in the pandemic and opening our doors to everybody in society to come in as well. And there's no place where probably everybody routinely gathered in the last 15 months than in a grocery store. And so we had to step up to that, and our folks did a marvelous job. And it comes from this sense of vocation. They actually own those sites, and they own them because they actually represent their community, and they are fundamentally entwined in that community. That vocation is about serving the groceries and the pharmaceutical needs and the home goods that make that community work. And so our field organization has to reflect their community, and they have to reflect that in a way that the people see themselves when they come into the store. They feel comfortable and respected in that place, and they feel like they're part of that community. And so all of our stores have that unique flavor of reflecting that respect, that culture, and that people-first culture, and importantly, all the elements of inclusivity and diversity that make them part of that community.
If you can think of, if there are cool things that come from the pandemic, one of the things that I think is pretty cool is the fact that I see people that I normally wouldn't see, right?
Yeah.
You think about all the people that have impacted the postmen, the people delivering your packages. I don't know if I would have really kind of seen them or appreciated what they are doing. And I really do believe that Amazon comes to my doorsteps way too often. So, hey, Ken, one of the themes emerging from today's events is the recognition that we are not alone as we strive for better in our organizations and community. So tell us about the resources that are available to help us on that journey.
Absolutely. So again, I'm honored to be a part of this discussion. And so I want to think about the business community through the DEI lens over the last 18 months. And I'm going to say a few names, and I'm going to put them into the room. Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. And what that has created is the conversation around race and how that comes together in our workplaces, and to do that. And so one, you don't have to go at it alone. Whether you're taking your first step on a DEI journey as an organization, or you're trying to navigate something new and complex, there are resources in this community. Obviously, the Grand Rapids Chamber is one of those. We do diversity, equity, inclusion assessments. We offer implicit bias training. We do the Institute for Healing Racism. We do culture and communication training. But also, I want to say, as you think about what your next step is into DEI and how that impacts your ROI, your return on investment, having that culture to retain this rich workforce that we're talking about, I asked respectfully, but I'm putting this also into the room, you need to have a Niagara Falls approach to your DEI. What do you mean by that, Ken? I want you to picture in your mind Niagara Falls, this top-down, steady, cascading waterfall that never ceases. When you take that DEI step, it needs to be a Niagara Falls approach. It needs to be continuous. It needs to be top-down. And let's just say you uncover something that was festered. You don't want to abandon it. You want to keep pushing through that, as opposed to doing a Old Faithful approach. So again, if you picture in your mind Old Faithful, where there's this big eruption, it's exciting why it happened, but then it goes away. So I have seen businesses say, George Floyd happened last year. I brought Ken in November of 2020 and we talked about race. We checked the box, we're going to move away from it, we're done. That approach is not as successful as the Niagara Falls approach, and that's what I encourage you to do when you think about DEI. And there are resources in this community to meet you where you're at and to help you continue the journey or to start the journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Anna, 21 states, CEOs all over the place. What are some example of organizations that you've had success with, and what can we learn from them?
Great, good question. A couple of things. So it's not the industry or the sector, but it is the company. And the first thing is leadership. Is your leadership, it doesn't matter whether you are, a team of 20 or a team of 3. Are you aligned on your commitment, on your idea to DE&I? Do you all have the same focus? Do you all support it equally? So alignment is critical for that success. As an example, we have a company in the Northwest, as in the transport business. They have multiple offices across the country. We've done one-on-one interviews, and it is so interesting how the closer the offices are to headquarters, the higher the commitment and awareness for D&I is. So you have to have across your organization that alignment, that support, and that commitment. Secondly, leaders demonstrate the behavior. People are looking at all of you in terms of how you behave, how you speak, how you treat each other. So modeling that behavior for everyone is critical. And the third thing is they face fear head on. And we're going to do that right now. We are going to play the first CEO Scrabble lightning round. And we're going to face fear head on. So we're going to take the word fear, and we're going to see how many words we can derive from those 4 letters. We're looking for 3 words, all right? We're going to give you 35 seconds, 40 seconds to come up with it. Here are the instructions. 1, we will pick one individual from my left, center, and right. So you are CEOs. You are not a shy group. Are we ready?
Ready.
Here we go. 30 seconds. We're looking for 3 words made up of the word fear. Go.
on this side. I got ear. That's obvious.
15 seconds. 10 seconds. And time. How was that? I love the discussion, and the laughter around the room. That's terrific. So, could we have someone from our left, from center, and right? Just stand right up. Don't be shy. One person. So we need 3 people. One on our left,
Got one.
center, and one.
You got one.
All right. We have one where? Stand right up.
He's over
Up tall. What is your word? All right, wonderful. In the middle. In the middle, anyone, please. Perfect. And over here? Go ahead, don't be shy. Just 3. Okay, we'll take fair. How's that? All right? Applause for everyone. So what we heard is ear is the first word. Are we listening? Are we using our ears to listen to our employees, to what they're saying? Are we listening to the marketplace? Are we ready to be courageous and intentional? Are we ready to take that first step towards DE&I and understanding what that means to our business? If you're further on in your journey, are you ready to continue? And FAIR, F-A-R-E, what investment are you willing to make to invest in your people, in your culture, and in driving innovation? D&I is a journey. And so the FAIR that we put into it, the investment that we put into it, is the results that we're going to get. Hopefully that has been helpful.
I think if we played Scrabble, that group over there would come up with some words. Yeah. Really, wow, thank you. There's been some great words spoken here, and the one thing that I'd just like to leave us really with is that this journey is, I think of being on my heels and my toes, right? Heels, I'm going backwards, toes, I'm going forward. This DEI journey is one that's, you're on your toes, right? It is not a soft sort of approach. I think it is more difficult to understand and impact this space, because it's much easier to just say, hey, I am what I am and this is what we are. But it is way more difficult, and you have to be way more talented to be able to kind of maneuver and zig and zag. Lots of folks can zig, lots of folks can zag, but if you're a true leader, you can zig and zag. So as we kind of wrap up and we think about it, I'll go back to the sort of 3 points that you guys can make really right now. 1, look at your workforces and see how diversity flows through at your team member level, at your manager level, and at your executive level. Think about the advice that you're getting from, right, what that looks like, right? All the results say that, a diverse board you have higher profits. And I think of 360-degree coverage. A lot of times what gets you is what you don't see. And then the third thing is really, who do you spend your money with? You can impact communities today based off of the dollars that you already spend. So, guys, thank you for that wonderful discussion. Thank you. Thanks, Tony. All right.